Welcome to Focused Wherever. In today's video, we're taking a look inside my Porsche Cayman GT4, specifically at the seats. I have the carbon fiber lightweight bucket seats. When I originally spec'd this car, I was planning on getting the 18-way adjustable sport seats, but the day I sat down with my sales associate to place my order, they happened to have a car on the lot that had these bucket seats, and the instant I sat in them, I knew this is what I wanted. There were two primary reasons I was originally focusing on these sport seats. One was the size of these bucket seats. I was under the impression that comfort was going to be limited to those of lower weight or smaller dimensions. As it turns out, that's not an issue. They are snug, they are fairly small, but I don't have any trouble getting comfortable even for long drives. The second reason is the entry and exit. This side bolster has no give at all. It's completely rigid, and I was concerned that it would just be too difficult, uncomfortable to constantly be crashing over that going in and out of the car. So that second concern is a bit of an issue. I wouldn't say that it's uncomfortable, but I'm certainly not graceful getting in and out of the car. I make a lot of contact, both inbound and outbound, with these rigid side bolsters here, particularly on the exit of the car. The weight of my leg is definitely in contact with this front portion here. So long-term wear and tear on this edge, on this bolster, is a concern. Again, because there's so much contact both sitting down and getting up. I think this leather will see accelerated wear if I don't do something to protect it. So that's going to be the focus of today's video, putting on a bolster guard. I've opted to go with the EdGuard Bolster Protector. There's at least a couple choices on the market. This particular one is a two-piece per side setup. The other one, at least one other one I know of, is a single piece that covers both the front and back portion of the seat's bolster. But EdGuard, their slogan is protection without detection. So what I liked about this is that it's the most OEM look of anything that I could find. So here are all the things we need to do this project today. From EdGuard, you get two pairs of these. I've already got one set on the driver's side installed, and they are specific to driver's side or passenger side. So what we're looking at here is the two pieces for the passenger side. The kit comes with Velcro and some zip ties. And then to complete the job, I've got some leather cleaner, some rubbing alcohol, and a few towels. There are a number of other how-to videos on YouTube for these bolster covers, but one of the things that I found is in watching those, it was hard to see what was going on down in some of the darker areas, down in the seat cushion or behind the seat, where we'll be working a little bit later on and installing these. So one of my goals here is to shine quite a bit of light into the areas that we're working so that you can see exactly how things connect, exactly how things get fished through certain areas, exactly how things get hooked up. So I'll have this light on and hopefully make it a little easier to see down in some of those areas. A good first step before starting the installation of the new bolster covers is to clean the existing ones. I used that Lexol I showed just a minute ago to give these a good cleaning. So with the bolster covers clean, the first thing you're going to want to do is raise the seat to its highest position. Next, reach behind this switch here and push it out. This will allow you to put the cutout in the bolster cover over this switch more easily. It's not necessary to take this trim ring off the switch. If you do, be very careful. That's a very thin piece of plastic and it breaks easily. But on the driver's side that I've already completed, I was able to get the leather over this switch with the trim still there by first hooking the top edge over. It's a tight fit, but with a little care, get the top edge hooked over and a little stretch, it'll pop over the bottom as well. So with the switch out, next we're going to start pulling back the seat cushion. The instructions that EdGuard provides notes only one difference between the driver's side and the passenger side, and that's that this passenger side apparently has a couple plastic pins underneath somewhere in this area, whereas the driver's side doesn't. and those pins will break if you pull up on these seat cushions too hard. Apparently they don't do a whole lot or really serve a purpose, but I'd rather not break them. So what I'm going to do is use that yellow towel I showed a minute ago and basically get in the way here between the Velcro on the seat bottom and the Velcro on the pad. And by getting that towel in there and keeping them from reconnecting every time I move my hand, I'll be able to slide the new bolster cover on more easily. So here's that towel in place, and again I've pushed it in there so that it's preventing that Velcro from just immediately reconnecting. I did find that plastic pin, and it's quite close to the edge right about here. So if you don't want to break that, proceed with caution as you're handling this area right here. This towel is basically no nap to it, so it doesn't really get hooked on either part of the Velcro. Just enough friction or connection that when I slide the bolster cover on, the new one on, it doesn't just push the towel out of the way. So this is a perfect solution to speed up how I can position or reposition the bolster cover, because there is a fair amount of trial and error and reconnecting, disconnecting and reconnecting to get the new bolster cover all the way seated. It doesn't have to be a towel, a sheet of plastic or something like that. Something slick that's not going to just essentially act like Velcro. But yeah, this towel works quite well. So I've got all the Velcro separated and covered. Now it's time to position the new cover. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get this cutout over that switch. And as I said a second ago, I had success hooking the top end of the cutout over the top of the switch trim here. And then with a little care, but a little force, getting that bottom edge to slip past the lower edge of the trim. So give that another shot now on this side. Okay, so that one was actually easier than the driver's side. So I've got it over the trim, and now it's safe to push that switch carefully back in. Again, go easy on this trim ring because that's not a strong part. Okay, now we're ready to start the kind of trial and error of connecting, disconnecting, reconnecting the Velcro that's on this inner edge. The mechanism for securing itself on this outer edge are these two plastic tabs. In fact, once I've kind of got it roughly pulled into position, I'll go ahead and hook these so that it stays put, and I can pull it snug as I put pressure over the top of it and get it seated down in the Velcro on the other side. I'll get these fastened early on so that once I get the Velcro connected on the other side, everything's kind of locked into place. So now I'm going to go through the trial and error of getting everything situated. Okay, I've got the bolster positioned and everything secured with the Velcro. The way this works again is the EdGuard bolster has Velcro on both sides of it. So on the side that touches the seat bottom, it's the right kind of Velcro to secure itself to that. And on this upper half, it's the right kind of Velcro to fasten the seat cushion. With a little, again, trial and error, little repositioning, and just pulling everything snug. And again, I started tightening it up, positioning it by getting these two tabs underneath. With a little repositioning effort, you can get it so that there's no waviness to the leather. Now, this area here with this strap and this loose leather, we're going to deal with that in a second, but with the right touch, the right effort, you can get this very smooth. I think my driver's side, this is quite good. I think my driver's side is actually even slightly better in terms of having absolutely smooth leather, but this is very, very good on this side. Here's a look at the driver's side, and as I mentioned, it's completely smooth. It looks, for this first biggest part of the bolster, looks completely OEM. No gaps, no bubbles, no waviness to the leather. Really outstanding fit. I'll also say that the leather itself and the stitch work are an exact match as advertised on the EdGuard website, an exact match for the OEM leather. There's zero difference between the black leather, between the OEM and the EdGuard, and the yellow stitching. And also, once it's hooked and positioned and all secured and all the waves or bubbles are smoothed out of it by, again, repositioning it on the Velcro underneath the seat cushion, the stitches are perfectly lined up. Very well done there as well, nice and straight, with everything fastened to where it needs to be in terms of the bolster itself. The stitch work looks fantastic. Okay, the next step is to take this strap and feed it through the seatbelt hole there and around back and secure it to a rod in the back of the seat. So to do that, it's best to pull the seat all the way forward. Okay, now we're ready to secure this back edge here by feeding this strap again down through the seat and around to the back. So initially, it goes right there between the carbon fiber and the seat belt. Just feed it straight through there, get it straightened out to the right orientation to how it'll pull snug, and feed it right down in that gap right there. Then once you get it through that opening, it's going to appear right here. And you want to continue on underneath. Go in front of this bolt right here. So it'll be all the way down to being underneath the seat, right in that opening there. And then it'll be reemerge, it'll reemerge right down here. Okay, now I've got it pulled through, again, between the carbon fiber and the seat belt to initially come away from the seat cushion, and then in front of that bolt right there. So now it's just hanging down, and we're ultimately going to bring it back here and loop it around on this bar back here, but for right now we'll leave it there while we get the Velcro ready in the back. And so while it's positioned but not snug, this is going to look still loose, but it will improve quite a bit once we get it tightened up and secured in the back. This is one area where this particular guard doesn't look entirely OEM. Again, this will improve once we tighten it down right here, but there is an extra flap, and there is a bit of kind of gapping of the leather or cinching of the leather that will remain even after this is snugged up. I mean, to an extent, there's some of that on the OEM leather, but just my only observation here is that this is the one place that I find that this doesn't look really true to the OEM look. Still good, still perfectly acceptable. It's the nature of the beast, but a little bit different than the stock look. Next step is to use the rubbing alcohol and a towel to clean this bar right here on the near end. Clean it for the length of the Velcro that you're going to be attaching. The goal here is, of course, to remove anything that would interfere with how well the adhesive can hold onto that bar. So that bar is now clean and dry, so I'm ready to install the Velcro. I've opted to use my own Velcro piece here as opposed to one included with the kit. It's a little bit bigger piece, and this is a heavy-duty Velcro. It's adhesive backed, and this heavy duty will have the most adhesion to the bar. So you want to install this lengthwise, like this, the long dimension running away from you. Here's a look at the Velcro in place. I made sure I pressed down the entire surface so that it's well stuck to the bar. In terms of positioning it, you want to have it here at the near end, very close to the end of the bar, so that when the strap comes underneath, that it aligns well with where you've got this Velcro position. So have it right here at this near end. Again, my piece is a little bit bigger than what comes with the kit, but if you have it in about this position, you'll be good to go. Now I've got the two zip ties in place. Again, the purpose of these zip ties is just to add a little extra strength to keep that Velcro fastened to the bar. So I've pulled those nice and tight. I've got them, particularly here on the near end, pretty close, about a 1/2 inch from the edge of the tape. The strap's going to be a little bit closer to the near end here than it is the far end, but I've got the two zip ties pretty close to the two ends of the Velcro. Now I'm going to snip this excess off, and it'll be time to pull this strap underneath and get this first piece nice and snug. Okay, so here's a look at the zip ties with the excess trimmed off. So the anchor point is all done there, and I've pulled the strap underneath. It's ready to be attached. And the way it gets back there is, again, we were right here in this space. In fact, you can see the edge of the strap right there. Just continue on underneath the seat. It's open underneath there, so you need to be behind this bit of metal right here, which basically just means from this area right here, just continue down straight, and once it's underneath and clear of the frame here, just pull it to the back and get it ready to wrap around the bar. It's going to be wrapping from front, around the front of the bar, this left side of the bar, wrapping around over top, around the back and underneath, and it'll go around about 2 times. But before you attach the first bit that's going to make a connection with that Velcro, pull it as tight as you possibly can, because the more you can pull it down, the better result you're going to get on pulling this snug against the seat. The strap from the bolster protector is now secured to the Velcro. Again, it comes down in front of that bolt, underneath the seat, underneath the bar, wrap around the front, and it should be able to go around the bar 2 times. You can see it there in the center. So we're done with the work back here, so I'm going to push the seat back and just give this front one more look, make sure everything's nice and smooth. I've got the switch pushed back in, I did that earlier, but I just want to give this one more inspection to make sure everything's well positioned. Again, the stitch work looks nice and straight. So we'll give it one last look, and then we'll be ready to wrap this up by installing this smaller bolster cover. One last look on the top side. Everything is looking good. The leather is nice and smooth. It's well secured. The cushions repositioned well. So we're down to this last piece. Now on this piece, I have chosen to have the stitches a part of this. The factory look doesn't have stitches. This is an option that EdGuard offers. You can get it without the stitches. I chose to include the stitches. The installation of this last piece is very simple, but you need to be careful that you've got it facing the right direction. This edge that sticks out a bit more goes to the right on the passenger side, but more importantly, you can tell you've got it positioned right, you're using the right side. When this fuzzy side of the Velcro is going to go on the outside of the seat. And the reason that's important, not only to have this leading edge cover or match the shape of the seat, but by having this panel on the outside, you won't see the connection point. It'll actually wrap underneath the seat and be out of view underneath or on the inside for a clean look. So it's nothing more than setting it over and bringing that underneath and getting it positioned and fasten the 2 pieces of Velcro together. To get your hands in there to fasten the 2 halves of the Velcro together, it helps to get the seat belt out of the way. So I just tucked it into the back of the seat cushion there. And that's all there is to it. Like I said, that outer piece wraps around underneath, so you have a completely clean look on this outside and comes up right there on this inner side, and the flap on the side just attaches right to the top of it. So before I put that in place, I gave that portion of the bolster one more wipe down, since I've been leaning all over it during this installation. Make sure it's nice and clean under there. So that's it. I've got the seat lowered down back into its normal position, and here's what it looks like all done. Definitely a quality product, quality fit. Very pleased with the outcome here. If you're contemplating getting the bucket seats, I highly recommend it. And if you do get the bucket seats, definitely check out the EdGuard Bolster Protectors. I'll put their link in the description below. Easy to install. Hopefully this helped for a few things that are a little harder to see in some spots. It's probably 20 minutes per side, maybe faster. Good product, good protection. Here's one last look at the driver's side. Again, here are the two EdGuard bolster protector pieces. That's the OEM look. This side has no guard on it. Perfect match. Again, great finish. Again, great fit on this side as well. That's going to do it for this video. I don't know that adding bolster protectors counts as a modification to the car, but coming up on the channel, I have something that most definitely is a modification. So consider subscribing to find your way back for that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and always stay focused.